welcome back to Tea Time with Allie and
Angelique.
We're so glad you are here joining us today. So I know it's been a long time since we had tea bags, but we're actually running out of tea. Which, who knew all we needed to get rid of our tea was drink it once a week at least.
Yeah. But
so
we made like a deal that we weren't going to buy more tea until we finished the tea that we have.
And now we're running into the problem is what's left is peppermint and stuff with caffeine in it. And we do this before we go to bed. So we're not drinking stuff with the caffeine in it because we both have trouble sleeping at night.
So I think it might be time for us to buy more tea.
It might be. So, anyway, today, as you might have read, we're talking about spiritual slumps.
Burr, 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 burr.
I was thinking more wah wah. What?
It is so foggy.
Oh, it's like, what are you talking about?
I leaned down and took a drink.
I thought this was an inside joke that you had with yourself and didn't let me in on it.
Obviously, I have all the inside jokes with myself.
I've got some pretty good inside jokes that I tell myself often too. So there was one time I told myself a joke in the car and I said, and I quote, I was in the car by myself and I said, I have fun. And now every time I tell myself a joke or Angelique and I make ourselves laugh, we'll go, I have fun. Or you have fun.
Or we have fun.
Yeah, but then it's not really like a joke to yourself. It's not a joke from me to me, so. Anyway, talking about spiritual slumps, not jokes, but keep that one in the books. No.
Jokes.
Anywho. So, like, what is a spiritual slump, Angelique? How would you define that?
It's whenever you go through a span of your life where praying is difficult and going to mass is hard and you are struggling.
That's a good definition.
That's a good definition.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Quality.
How have you found to get out of your spiritual slump?
Almost exclusively going to confession. Like finally pushing forward and going to confession. I feel 1,000 times better, like almost immediately, and then I can like get back in it. But the push to make myself go to confession sometimes is very hard. I don't always want to do it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you gotta do it.
Yeah, confession's really hard, especially when you've been like struggling and you keep falling into the same sin. And then I always find like, oh, you know, I haven't been to confession yet. I can just keep doing this sin. And like I haven't gone yet. I can just keep doing it. Like it's not going to make it worse. Except that's a sin in of itself.
Yeah.
Is like knowing it's a sin and doing it anyway.
And also being like, God will forgive me.
Yeah,
That's
I'll get
a sin
forgiven.
as well.
And then you've got more things to confess, and you're like, well, I did this to myself. But yeah, so that's a really good one to get yourself out of a spiritual slump, and they always happen. Like nobody's ever going to be on the up and up and up and up and up.
Yeah, because life's a roller coaster, and you gotta go down sometimes.
At some point, yeah, you'll be.
And sometimes you'll stay real low for real long, and then
and
you'll go back up. It'll be fine.
I'll back up. Yeah, but I was definitely in a low the year that I called the best Lent ever. And so like that Lent kind of turned it around for me, and like there have been little slumps here and there. But I don't think I've ever been that low again. You know? Which, like, I'm not saying it's never gonna happen, because, like, don't ever
Life's
say
long.
Never.
And mistakes are made.
Yes. But when you're in, like, a spiritual slump, don't stop praying and don't stop going to Mass.
Because if you miss 1 week in a slump, it'll be 6 months, and you're like, whoa, I haven't been to Mass in a long time.
Yeah. Also be cautious of if you haven't been to confession and you're in a slump and like you're not doing all the things you should be doing of taking the Eucharist. I know a lot of people think it's like embarrassing to not take the Eucharist, but it's actually worse for your soul to take the Eucharist when you're in a state of mortal sin. Not saying that all slumps are because you're in a state of mortal sin.
But often they're related.
Yeah. So just be cautious of taking the Eucharist in a state of mortal sin, because
that's a mortal sin.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And when you know about them, you have to confess them.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
We did that for you.
Uh-huh. Just for you. You can call us jerks, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think another thing with like spiritual slumps is like you shouldn't beat yourself up about them because that's not gonna help.
Mm-hmm.
Like making yourself feel worse and worse and worse about being in a slump isn't going to help you get out of a slump.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So like there's no point in hammering it down on yourself when, you know, he's not. He's just waiting.
Yeah. There's also like, it's important to kind of recognize how you get into the slumps too. Because I mean, for me, a lot of times I get into my slumps is because of like loneliness and things like that. And
I often get into my slumps because of anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get mad and then I'm like, I'm not gonna do it.
She almost elbowed me in the face. That's how.
Sorry. But like, I don't know. I'll get angry about something stupid, and then I'll be like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna go. And then before I realize it, it's been a really long time, and there's no point because the anger was not justified.
Yeah.
But I live my life through anger sometimes.
I
and
find
that's
that
okay,
my worst sin is like due to loneliness, you know, and so it's like once I feel that loneliness like creeping in, and it's not that there's nobody around or nobody's listening. Everybody feels loneliness every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I haven't had Angelique around at these times, so it's like they just happen.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it just feels like, you know, you're just never gonna feel okay again, and you will. You'll feel okay again.
You just have to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, don't give up your prayer routines. Don't, you know, but maybe change them up a little bit. Like, sometimes people get into spiritual slumps because their prayer is getting, I hate to say boring, but it's getting repetitive.
And it's feeling tedious.
Yes, it's like a chore instead of something that you should want to do.
I do frequently find that Hallow helps, and I will instead, like in a slump, when I feel like I can't pray, I'll listen to prayers on Hallow, and that helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So try new things. So like, if you've never prayed in the morning before, try praying in the morning instead of at night. Or try adding on prayer in the morning and doing it at night. I like my nighttime prayer more than I like my morning prayer, but I'm usually half asleep for my morning prayer. But my morning prayer is just the morning offering, so it's not... I like half say it in my head and then I say, no, I gotta pull it up, I don't know the words. And then it's so bright that I'm like, ah! That's the one I normally forget.
Yeah.
Then I have another little prayer I do in the morning. And so, just, you know, like try mixing it up a little bit. Don't drop anything without replacing it with something. Or try adding it on instead of, you know, like changing it completely.
Yeah.
And
if you replace things too quickly, you're going to give them up too fast.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is like a lot of people, when they get out of their slumps, when you get out of your spiritual slump, you're like, I want to do all of these things. And I think that can actually lead to another slump. Like, I think oftentimes whenever we're like, let's say you've been in a slump and you go on a retreat. And, like, retreats are great, but you have to be really, really careful when you leave a retreat because you want to do every single thing. Like, you want to go to adoration every single day. You want to pray all of these different things, and it's beautiful to want to do that, but oftentimes we have to start out small or we're going to set ourselves up for failure.
Yeah, because you'll get burnt out,
Mm-hmm.
and then it feels exhausting because you've given yourself too many tasks.
Yeah. So you just have to be mindful of like how this could possibly lead to another slump. Like, it's so beautiful when you want to do it all, but we as people cannot do it all. And oftentimes you need to add things in slowly and say, you know, I really wanted to do this, but maybe now is not the right time, so I'll do this instead.
Yeah.
Adding on little things and then eventually getting to the big things. Like, if you love adoration, go to adoration, but don't say I gotta do this every single day.
Yeah.
Say
Twice a week, once a week.
Start with once a week, see how it goes, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe start with 20 minutes and then see how it goes from there. Like, I want to do 40 minutes a week, split it into 2 20 minutes. I don't know. Something like that. Something more simple than saying I'm going every day for an hour, because that's a lot.
That's a lot.
And it's beautiful that you want to spend that much time with Jesus.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sure Jesus really appreciates that time with you. But it's also like, yes, that's the most restful you're going to be, or at least that's how I always feel, is it's the most restful place to be.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we set ourselves up for failure when we set goals that aren't always attainable, because who's to say you're going to have an hour on Tuesday when you work late on Tuesdays, you know, like something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So just be mindful of when you set these goals for yourself, because it can also lead to spiritual slumps.
Yeah. If you go too big too quick, you're gonna fall. That's just how life be.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
So like identifying things that are going to lead you into those slumps can actually make the slumps a little bit smaller. Like, you're still gonna feel them, but it's hopefully going to be less over time.
She's stuck.
And eventually, hopefully, they become like little short bursts instead of long periods. Because I've gone through long period slumps before. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I frequently long period slump. It's terrible. It's fine. It's not like stupid long, but it's like sometimes it'll be a month, and I'm like, gotta fix that.
This sucks.
Yeah, but it's okay. Everybody can come back from a slump.
Yeah. And I just think the most important thing is to not give up on prayer or Jesus. Like, if you have an adoration hour that you do, don't give up on it just because you're in a slump. If you pray certain things every day, don't give up on it because you're in a slump. If you go to mass more than every Sunday, like if you go to a daily mass every Sunday or once a week, don't give up on that, because I think being persistent in your prayer isn't what the devil wants you to do. Ultimately, the devil wants you to give up. He wants you to say, I can't do this anymore. But you can. You're able to, and we believe in you. And he believes in you, so, yeah.
And if you are in a slump right now, don't worry. He's waiting. He's just hanging out, waiting for you to catch up. Because that's what he does. He just waits for you.
And he's here to listen.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that's really all. Yeah,
Short and sweet. A nice short and sweet video.
Yeah.
So go ahead and like and subscribe. Ring the bell so you get the notifications. Drop a comment if you have any video suggestions, anything you want to hear us talk about. We are looking for suggestions every day, all the time, because we are a little bit running low on suggestions.
We got on the site.
Yeah. We're getting to where we're like, what are we gonna talk about? Oh no. So
I literally decided this morning what we were gonna talk about.
yeah, it's getting to be a little harder to find.
We're in a spiritual slump. No, we're in a content slump.
We're in a content slump. We don't have ideas, but
Yeah.
we will find them. We'll keep making videos until you guys tell us to stop.
Even if they're stupid.
Us stupid? Absolutely. Anyway,
Wasn't what I was expecting.
Likes to comment well, notifications. Because our goal in life is obviously to be influencers, so go ahead and make sure that Allie and I become influencers because that's what we want.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Don't lie to the people.
I'm not.
I'm lying to people. It's me. I'm the bad guy.
Is it you? Are you the problem?
I am the problem. It's me.
I'm
Hi.
quoting her
I'm the
favorite
problem.
artist,
It's me.
Taylor Swift.
She's not my favorite.
He's not my favorite.
He's not my favorite. I just really like that little, like, that's a really funny little tidbit of a line. And I say it a lot when I'm the problem. It's me, hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
Anyway.
Anywho, don't forget to keep striving for likeness, and we will see you in the next video. We don't know what we're talking about. We hope somebody tells us what to talk about. We could use that down below. Anyway, goodbye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.